Who's excited to see that the Ogre slop of CM17 is finally over and we can get into CM18, that is Libra Cup? Well, fear not, Christmas Ogre once again is still really strong for CM18 if you build her as an end closer because of the downhill section on the late race. However, she is harder to build, therefore she is not gonna run rampant like this Virgo Cup. Yes, our favorite meta Uma that everyone loves. Anyways, aside from the Ogre Slop, I'll discuss the CM itself, such as the tracks, acceleration skills, decks, and meta comms that you need to know for the champion meeting itself. Libra Cup is held on the Hanshin 1600-meter turf mile track with the condition of right-handed, fall, cloudy, and firm. The hidden stat bonus for this track is the power stat, so it is highly recommended to get over 901 stats on power, but it's pretty easy to hit this anyways, so you don't need to worry that much. One quick glance at the track itself, we can see that most of the middle leg section in this race course is corners. So corner middle leg speed skill will help you reposition your Umas better. We can also see that there is a very huge downhill section here, nearing the final leg section where Umas start to accelerate. This makes a very strong point that two very important skills will be very good here. One that I've already mentioned before, that is the after school scroll recover skill for Christmas Ogre unique activation. That is super good because it guarantees her Festive Miracle to activate anywhere between this downhill section and it can last into the last spurt section. The other skill is the downhill acceleration skill, Determine the Sun, which you can get from the Nishino Flower with SSR card. If you have extra slot to take in the deck, you can borrow this with card for the extra acceleration as well. There's also one newly introduced acceleration skill that is super good for the late surger and end closer, which is the Lightning Surge Gold skill from Daichi Ruby Power card. What this skill essentially does is, when you do an overtake on the late race section, you get a huge acceleration buff, which lets you explode even faster to the finish line. However, the caveat is that your late surger or enclosers needs to be very well built so they can proc this skill and catch the front runners and pace chasers. Otherwise, the normal acceleration skill that pops the earliest are the corner acceleration skill, that is angling and scheming for the front runners, budding blossom for pace chasers, and less pump some iron for late and end closers. Beyond the other side, redshift and shooting for victory inherit doesn't work for this CM since their duration doesn't last into the late section of the course itself. However, shooting for victory on Taiki Shuttle herself works as it has longer duration and will give you half of the unique duration into the late race section. Just remember that shooting for victory only works on Taiki Shuttle herself, so do not inherit this onto the other pace chasers. Straight acceleration skill also works on the CM, but it activates roughly 70-meter late into the race, so prioritize corner acceleration skill first over the straight ones. These straight acceleration skill are inherits such as the El Condor Pasa Unicorn fronts and straightaway spurt for the end closers. As per usual, gambling acceleration skill is always there for each style. You have head on for the base chaser, on your left for the late surgers, and no stopping me for any stall, but please note that NSM is less effective on this track than the others, but it's still definitely a viable gambling acceleration option. Okay, now let's discuss these stats. Last CM was a nightmare for the stamina because it's a medium distance track and Nice Nature are simply running wild with all-seeing eye. That's no longer the case for Mal CMs though. Even though you can still build some stamina debuffer with 564 from Cold Chip Inherit, it's not that effective as the medium CMs. Speed debuffer are way superior in the CM due to having access of Keen Eye Gold Seal for the Mal distance, and you can simply use 564 for the Dominator. And so let's discuss the stat line itself. For speed, ideally you want to cap it, that is 1600 for the burnout scenario. If you cannot, then try to get it above 1500 at least. And for the stamina, just get it over 600 stamina to last the race. Power above 901 for the Eden speed bonus. Definitely if you can get it over 1200 for the power release mechanic, that's even better. Guts, it's kind of whatever, and width, definitely as high as you can. The higher the better for your skills to prop. A super straightforward stat line. I believe you can achieve this stat line for the people who have been consistently playing the Grand Life scenario. As for the deck, it's always the same old 3 speed, 2 wit, and 1 light hello. We know by this point that Agnes Tachyon and light hello is a fixed slot. The speed and wit card are interchangeable depending on your style. For fronts, you can run something like this with Summer Marisanski as your hint provider, and with Mihono Bourbon for taking the lead, and other cards like Kita-san for the training effects and speed skill, and also Fine Motion for the training effects. For pace, you can run this deck, which has everything lined up from the Goat skill, from Agnes Tachyon, from Fine Motion for Speed Star, and also Nishino Flower giving Determined Distance as well. If you have Taiki Shuttle as well for the Mal Maven, then it's even better, but I don't expect most of us to have this. And obviously, if you don't have this card, you can replace them with SR card as well. Some good cards for the Pace Chasers are like the El Condor Pasa SR card, also works well for Pace Chaser as the hints are pretty good. And moving on into the late surger, you can run a deck of something like this. Since Daichi Ruby Lightning Surge Gold skill is really good for late surger and encloser, you are recommended to fit the card in the deck, even though it makes the deck format a bit weird. Since you need to have a speed bonus Uma or you simply die because you need to high roll to cap the speed or even get a passable speed stat. There's also some option if you don't want to run the Daichi Ruby card, then just try to get the Leap Forward Inherit from your parent's bark. This is definitely harder, but this also depends if you can borrow a very good parent. I think it's better to run Daichi Ruby power card in a deck and try to get a 20% speed Uma if you can. The same thing also applies to the Ancloser deck. The only difference is you use Mr. CB for Daring Strike instead of on your left that is commonly used for Late Surger from Nice Nature. Otherwise, the core structure of the deck stays pretty much the same. They don't really differ at all. You want Taichi Ruby for the Lightning Surge Go skill. Now we can discuss the meta for the next CM. This next CM is going to be heavily dominated by Pace Chaser once again, and probably some and Christmas Ogre here and there. The reason is simply that Pace Chaser has access to too many good acceleration skill. That is the Budding Blossom, Determined Descent, and Shooting for Victory if you run Taiki herself. It's not surprising to see that the meta Pace Chaser itself are Nishino Flower and Taiki Shuttle. Surprisingly, Wedding Fine Motion is also pretty good on the CM if you want to use her. Nishino and Taiki simply have acceleration unique in their favor, so it explains pretty much why they're good. On top of it, Nishino also has Determined Descent built in her kit that makes her even better. As for Taiki Shadow, we pretty much know by this point that she's a beast for the model distance racetrack. Her kit is literally screaming, just pick me for the model distance and I'll carry you to a win. Winning Fine Motion, on the other hand, is simply just super strong because her unique gives you speed bonus and a little bit of acceleration during the start of the late race, so you can kind of get a speed carryover and you can get a little bit of acceleration boost into the late race. Her kit also consists of two very good gold skill that works pretty well, which is Changing Gear as a middle leg speed skill and Neck and Neck, which is another source of acceleration skill that can help you pop off to win the race. Frontrunners are not that strong compared to Pace Chaser, simply because their source of acceleration is only angling and scheming, and well, if you count Victoria por Blanca as well, which activates a bit late. However, the other style simply has more acceleration skill that can overtake the fronts easily. This is also not assuming the fact that some people might run Runaway Suzuka as an ace or even as a chariot plus the buffer. This will result in the Suzuka deleting the possibility of the frontrunner to activate angling and scheming, which is their only best source of acceleration by the way, and it's literally just over for the frontrunners. You cannot do anything. Laser here and Encloser are kind of in a similar good spot since they have access to mana acceleration skill and the new Lightning Surge Gold skill from Taichi Ruby. The recommended UMAs for late surgery is the vacation version of Major Dober. The Hanshin's 1600-meter turf track is the only one track which this version of Dober worked. This is because her unique activates on the downhill section and has a very high chance for a speed carryover into the late race, and paired with access to a good gold skill called Dauntless that can give speed and acceleration just really helps this Uma to win when entering the late race itself. Lastly, for Encloser, honestly you can run the usual stuff like Gold Ship or Narita Tashin as we all know, but the strongest Encloser for next CM is simply just Encloser Christmas Agree. This is like the best case scenario where Festive Miracle pop off on the downhill into the late race section from After School Scroll. The simple build for the recovery is After School Scroll, 777, and a corner recovery. This will make her into a 30% chance guaranteed win monster and help you win the CM. If you want to take it up a notch, you can also incorporate running Gold City card and putting Keen Eye into the build. This counts as a recovery skill and also debuffs other Uma speed too. The good news for us non-Christmas Ogre player is that this kind of Ogre is way harder to build than the CM17 Pace Ogre that we have probably seen by now is dominating the CM with the debuffers. This Christmas Ogre heavily relies on the after-school scroll recovery, and getting it is no easy feat. You need to get it from an inheritance spark or use any of these cards that has the after-school scroll on its hand. And the only real card from this list is the Social Speed card. So yeah, we will be seeing less people build and closer Christmas Ogre, which is the good news. Well, the bad news is if you get matched up with this monster, you have a high chance of just losing. All the runner styles aside, the buffer will become more and more relevant in the upcoming CMs, so if you haven't jumped into the train of entering the buffers and feel how good they are, you are definitely missing out. For the next CM, the debuffers simply have access to Keen Eye Gold from Gold City card, as it's a mild track, and then you just inherit 564 from Gold Chip Summer version to force activate Dominator Gold skill, and you're good to go. If you have built a speed debuffer for previous CM, you can just reuse the debuffer once again. It doesn't really change anything, just get all the hesitant speed debuff skill, Keen Eye, Dominator, and it's fine. I'm just going to plug in the debuffer deck from my previous CM guide, as literally nothing differs from it. You can fill the cards that you have with your own if you don't have this card. Anyways, that brings us to the last section, which is the team composition. There will be a lot more variation on the CM compared to previous CM, but the core of it stays the same. Front players can do 2 front plus a debuffer or another ace like and closer ogre to secure the win if the front fails. The usual Oshi com also work. This is any ace that you like plus 2 debuffer with Keen Eye and Dominator in their kit. This is the simplest com and is usually the best. One thing that might change in the debuffer section is running one runaway Suzuka plus one debuffer instead. This in result will pace out the whole room due to Suzuka acting as a chariot and pulling the pace up. This is very good specifically if you run a late surger or encloser ace as they benefit the most out of it. It also acts as a frontrunner denier due to Suzuka blocking their angling and scheming. So yes, definitely do not pair a runway Suzuka if you're running a double front. Anyways, that's it for the Libra Cup. I hope this helps you win the next Libra Cup. It's definitely one of the more fun CM where you can kind of play anything instead of being dominated by the Ogre slop. If you have any question as well, you can also join my Discord server. Link in the description down below. Thanks for watching, Gordiel here, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.